Now I have an idea, and I'm going to do it all by myself, and that is to transform this wall to something very aesthetic that looks modern and minimalistic. We don't want clutter. We want a very clean-cut look. So I've been on Pinterest, I've created my mood board, and I know exactly what I want, and that is to have white wooden slats behind the TV here. Now, I have a 10-month-old baby at home who loves to crawl, who loves to tug on everything, and this cable has been a problem. So that's where initially this whole idea came from. Also, it doesn't look aesthetic at all. It looks cheap, to be honest, and yeah, we need to change that. I know that you can have like a very simple solution, much cheaper, just to get like that plastic little thing that covers the cables. However, it's still not going to make the wall look nice, and we want to elevate the whole living space. So I'm going to get wooden slats. We're going to cover the whole wall top to bottom. So now what I need to do is measure up this wall, know how many slats I need to get, and then get all of my other equipment that I'm going to need. So don't know if I'm going to glue the slats on, if I'm going to hammer them in. I'm not too sure. It's my first time doing this, so we are going to save money not getting a contractor. However, I don't know how it's going to turn out. So hopefully by the end of this video, this wall is going to be completely transformed and look modern, minimalistic, the exact vision that I have in mind, and it's just going to elevate my whole living space. Now let's head off to the shops to get all of the tools. As you can see, the slats are supposed to be 168 millimeters wide, which I thought was perfect since my wall is only 162 millimeters. But it turned out those aren't the actual measurements, and that's going to cause some problems later. Also, these slats cost me $120. The plan was to nail directly into the wooden studs. Here's roughly where the studs should be, so I thought it would be helpful to mark them on the wall for a visual guide. Honestly, this was probably the most nerve-wracking part because I didn't have any spare slats in case I made any mistakes. To make sure my measurements were accurate and lined up with both the wall and the TV mount, I laid everything out on the floor first, then checked it against the wall. And yep, I was definitely on track. These are the nails I ended up choosing. They were narrow enough to fit through the interlocking edge and long enough to secure the slats to the wall. I kept using a level to ensure everything stayed aligned and centered throughout the process. To hide the TV cable, the slats worked out perfectly because they're hollow. I just cut through the back and was able to easily run the cable behind. So finally finished, and this is what it looks like. I'm pretty happy with it, seeming it's the first time I've done anything like this. However, because the wall slats weren't the exact size of the wall, there's a tiny bit here that I can see my actual wall, which I know is going to bug me so much. So I've decided to go to Bunnings. I got some paint, and we're going to paint this little bit to hopefully not make it as obvious on the eye. So it just kind of flows into the white wall panels. Let's see how we go. Like I mentioned earlier, the slat measurements weren't accurate. It turns out the company listed the width based on the slats being separate, but once interlocked, they were actually much shorter. It's really frustrating and definitely something you should double check before buying. So I also decided to get some LED lights behind my TV, and now it's perfect. It's elevated, classy, modern, minimalistic, everything that I hoped it would be.